Hi, it's Sandy Parker, and welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. Today we're going to be making a card with Arteza brush markers. Yes, that is how you say it. I found that out for sure. And I'm making a project for a friend. She has the Arteza brush pens, and hers don't have the names or the numbers on them, so I've made a swatch sheet for her, and I want to show you that as well. I hope you'll stay tuned. So the first thing I wanted to do is go over this swatch sheet I made, and hopefully the whole thing is in camera. I'm making sure it is, and it is. And I had some difficulties because I always swatch. If you've ever seen any of my watercolor pencils or my markers, I always swatch and put a sticker on the pen itself. Well, some of these I really thought were brown, but they were actually red, this one. And some were supposedly purple that I did not find them to be purple when I did my swatching. So there are some that are not in the order that you would think they would be in. So let me just kind of go over my list with you, and hopefully you can read them. This is called Night Sky Blue. It's A141. Denim Blue A186. True Blue A168. Blueberry A191. Royal Blue A103. Periwinkle A180. Eggplant Purple A136. Wisteria Purple A188. Light Magenta A184. Rouge Pink A190. Bubblegum Pink A149. Bubble Bath Pink A187. Red, just red, A101. Neon Pink A107. Cadmium Orange A140. Orange A112. Orange Rust A169. Fair Skin, and I gotta be honest, that's not too fair, it's very orange, A116. Sunset Yellow A156. Bumblebee Yellow A128. Lemon Yellow A105. Turtle Green A127. Teal A138. Seaweed Green A120. Olive Green A146. Cut that out. Crocodile Green A126. Parakeet Green A185. Light Green A111. Also what I would not consider light green. Chamomile A157. Green Tea A154. Sapphire Blue A131. Bright Blue A108. Cut that out. Arctic Blue A117. Ice Blue A173. Noir, which of course is black, A104. Ash Black, which is A172. Elephant Gray A130. Smoke Gray A115. Parma Gray A143. Dolphin Gray A174. Coffee A134. Walnut Brown A164. Grape Purple. Now these are the ones I thought were a little iffy. I think this has such a brown tone to it to me, but it is a purple. A148. Wine Red A182. Chocolate A102. Autumn Red A118. Tawny A137. And Ginger A178. If you have your 48 set of the Arteza brush markers and yours don't have names or numbers on them, hopefully you'll be able to look at this and kind of compare your colors to these. I'm trying to make sure the lighting on them is strong enough that you'll be able to tell that, but those are the colors in the 48 set and their numbers. So that's my first thing I did. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to make her a card. She just had some surgery on her foot, and I thought it would be nice to send her a little howdy do. Who says that anymore? I have no idea. Did anybody ever say that? Anyway, we're saying it today. And I'm using a stamp that is from Unity Stamps, and it's a poppy outline stamp, and it's a very big stamp. I think it's 8 inches tall. It's very, very big. Might be 7 inches tall. Let me see. It's probably about 7 inches tall. It's a biggie. Anyway, what I thought we would do is we'd use our Arteza brush markers, and we're going to color these, and this is Fabriano hot press cardstock, or watercolor paper, and I wanted to make sure that we used a watercolor paper for this because I'm going to be doing a lot of wetting, and I want to make sure that it works for it. And I want to get this out of the way, so I'm sure sometimes this long magnet can get in the way, so I'm just kind of trying to move it around. I want enough room for a little sentiment up there, and then that's where my stamping is going to be. And if you were looking at my thumb or my pinky nail and going, what's wrong with that? I had a little problem where I don't remember what got jammed under there and really damaged my pinky nail. Just in case you wondered. If you didn't wonder, I just gave you too much information. I apologize for that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with, I want to make sure I give you the right color, Lemon Yellow 105. I'm not going to give you the A's because you know that A is in there. And I'm just going to do the tops of a couple of these. What I found, now keep in mind I have all these lights in here, but what I found is if I'm coloring a lot at once, I don't get much of an impression. So I'm going to try playing with it, playing a little bit at a time, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in and spray it with a little bit of water so we can keep these nice and watercolory looking. I'm sure that's a term. If it's not, we'll just go with it. Put it in the Sandy dictionary. Okay, so this time I'm going to put a little bit of water on them after I run the yellow on them, because I just want to make sure that we get our yellow on each one of these near the tops. And I'm just going to spray a little bit of water, not a ton, but enough to just keep them kind of hydrated, we'll call it. That was probably way more than I needed, but we're going with it anyway. See if that does it. Leave it on there a little bit longer so that if it is wet, oh look, and even the colors that I was sure I cleaned off of it are now all over that. How lucky can you get? So the next color we're going to go for is the red. It's all red, and I'm going to color the whole. If you can't see what I'm doing, and hopefully you can, I'm coloring most of the flower up to the top, not where I did the yellow, because that would be counterproductive. It's too bright, it would overwhelm my yellow. But I just wanted to make sure we got red. I think that'll pretty much go all the way to there. I'm just making sure I don't have any red on my stems, because sometimes I do that. And we're going to, again, we're putting a little bit of water over it. And when I say a little bit, I mean more than a little bit, and we're going to end up with it everywhere. I have some spots that are already scaring me a little bit. But we want this to look like a watercolor, so, you know, that's why you do it. And even though that was supposed to be red, it isn't as super red as I want it to be, because it's more of a pinkish red. And I have to be honest, that kind of bugs me, because I want it to be a red, you know? You know what a red is? Redder than something, not as red as others. you want your splotches to be darker, I'll show you how to do that. I'm going to find a yellow ink. I'm going to use Summer Sun. It's a Stampin' Up! Ink pad. And we're going to use our brush and just kind of go over the ink pad till we're sure it's got a lot of yellow on it. And it does. I think what I'm going to do this time, because I'm pretty sure this is going to flick everywhere, is I'm going to put my rag under it. That way, we're not going to end up with a huge mess. And I've got my real red ink on there. Look at the cool red little teeny tiny spots. I kind of dig it, gotta be honest. Hopefully you can see that. I'm moving it to the bottom, and the reason I'm moving it to the bottom is because this stamp that I've lost is right here. I'm going to put this stamp at the top, and I want to make sure that it's in a section of the card that I can actually stamp. These stamps aren't as thick as the Unity stamps, so I have to, really watch them to make sure I can get the ink to go onto my paper, if you know what I'm saying there. See if I can get that to stick there. I'm going to do one more inking, and then after I ink it, I don't think I'm going to. I was going to put embossing powder on it, but I think that's what led to all my problems yesterday, was the embossing part of it, because I don't know, I just made a big mess. So now our green is going to fit on there perfectly, and then this layer will fit on that. Lovely. I wonder if I should put a small bow on there. Do you think? I don't know. What do you think? Oh, these are the things. These are the dilemmas I face in life. What do you think of that? Too red? I think we're going to go with it. We're going with it. All those in favor? I don't hear you. Well, just remember, it's your fault that it looks this way because you voted. Or maybe you didn't because I didn't let you. You never know. Okay. So, I don't need, oh yeah, I do need that. Oh, made that up. Okay. Is this wet? Now, I'm going to put this in here. This says, full of hope and blooming with beauty. I'm going to take this little piece out. I don't know what the deal is, but I can tell you this much. I've had enough green ink on everything. This ink pad is an old one, and it's kind of, is it concave when it's not flat all the way across? I decided I wanted to put some foam under it to give it a little bit of boost. So if you've never, if you don't have foam tape, and I don't really like foam tape for things like this, because if you use fun foam, you get a completely flat image. It doesn't buckle, and you don't end up having a weird mark. Here's what I like to do. I like to hold my card a little bit down and to the right. Okay, hopefully you can see this. Can you see where it is? It's a little bit off, a little bit in from this, and a little bit in from that. And the reason I'm doing it this way, I'm going to cut now, and the reason I do it like that is I've already made it. I've made the, basically the size that we want it to be for the entire piece, and it's already taken into account the margins by doing it that way. Does that make sense? Let's say it does. If it doesn't, well, we'll just go with that too. Man, are these sticky. I use my alcohol pads on these. I should put that in that video of Dollar Tree that I use their alcohol, if they have them. I don't know. Do they have alcohol pads? I think they do, but Rich was a pharmaceutical rep, and he got a bunch of alcohol pads when they weren't allowed to give things like that to doctors anymore. So we have alcohol pads to last us a lifetime. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I want to do some wet glue on this because it's sometimes hard to get your foam to adhere the way you want it to. So I'm just going to run a pretty significant amount of wet glue over my piece of foam, and I'm going to run it side to side like this. I'm doing a little song for you. And make sure you get your corners. And I have so much on my, in this line that I did on the edges. You want to make sure that you do that so that your whole backing is nice and gluey. Now we're going for glue number 2. We're going to glue the back. We're going to adhere it to our little green piece. And wet glue gives you the time to move things and make yourself happy. And the other glues, like the dry glues, you know, the ones you get from your ATG guns or tear tape or any of those, if it goes on, it's done. You don't have an option. Once it's on there secure and for good. Then we're going to put more glue. Okay, now all I need is we're going to stamp the back of our card with my Stamp Panda stamp. If you've never seen this, I got it from a company called Stamp Panda, and I have the information on several videos, but basically I bought the square address stamp that at that time was called Molly, but they stopped making Molly, and now the closest one to it I put on the very last video. If you look at the video of the wedding card, it's definitely on that one, the instructions on how to make that stamp. So if you go to the wedding card that has the silver heart, it should be 2 or 3 videos before this one. You'll find it. You'll get the straight scoop there. One last thing I like to do with my bows is I don't like it when my ribbon moves around a lot. You get a glue dot, and I'm going to get my pokey tool because this will work better. You take one of your glue dots and you take it off like that, and you put it under the knot if you can, and then you push that down, and that makes it so that your knot stays in place and so that your ribbon is well adhered so it doesn't flop around. Basically, does it flop around? I don't know if it does. I'm just making that up. So here is our card. Now let's make an envelope. I'm going to put that aside because, you know, I do want to give her both of those. Plus I'm going to give her that the chart that I made with all the colors of the Arteza. It is Arteza, not Arteza. I asked them, and that's what they told me. I also wanted to tell you that I think they're going to give us a 10% discount for the immediate future, and I'm pretty sure they are, and I'm going to have them write it. I'll have Rich write it right here, how you get that discount code, and I'll put it down below what the discount code is. But I bought my brush markers originally, then they asked me if I'd be willing to do a video on their brush markers, and so I've done 3 or 4 of them, and they were really nice in giving them to me. But for me, the thing that I would prefer more than anything is that all of you get the discount. And so I asked them, and they said that they would make sure that they gave me a discount code. So hopefully by the time this is up, we have the discount code and we're ready to roll with it. Somebody gives me a tool to try out, and I do like those brush markers, by the way, in case I didn't say that. I really do like them, and I think that if you are looking for brush markers, they're very inexpensive. My set was right around $30, so if you can get a set for $30, I'm going to say go for it. A set of 48 markers, that's great. And brush markers, it's even better. Okay, so I'm going to use Simon Says Stamp Black, Intense Black ink. The reason for that is because I'm going to color these 2 roses. Well, in the end it's going to be 3 roses. Do one more. This is from the same stamp set from Little Darling Rubber Stamps. I recommend these very highly. They're a good quality stamp, and Okay, and they didn't give me anything for free, but I just wanted to tell you about this because it's such a good deal. I got this set for, I know it was under $5, and their dies are super, and I got them for like $2.50 for a set of dies, so you should go and check them out. It's called LDRS Creative, and anytime I get a big bargain like that, I want to tell you about it, because if you can get the bargain too, it makes me happy. Here is today's card, and here is yesterday's boo-boo card. I think today's card looks much better than yesterday's. I hope that you enjoyed this video, that you give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Please tell your friends about me on social media, because you know I love that. And thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.